Hey everybody, my name's Jordan and I'll be taking you a guide to creating another growl synth. However, I would like to preference if you have a patch or something of the sort that doesn't be put to good use, try using your patch in a song you're making, but maybe pitch it up really high or pitch it down really low to add some atmosphere or some background. So I'm gonna be showing you how to create this synth that's actually gonna be a background synth. So have a listen to the track and I'll be guiding you through how I created this track. It's very Jack Wob influenced. So have a listen. So in this, it adds a little bit of atmosphere. It adds like something else to it. But originally, it was supposed to be used as a synth to back up like the groundness in a background track. Now, as you can tell, it's very, well, by this curve, you can tell it's pretty high when it goes up to the midpoint because the parameter 1 controls the frequency of this hit. So whenever you hear that hit, that ring comes in. So it's really good for background. Anyways, I'll be showing you how to make that synth. So I'm going to create something new. And in here, I'm going to right-click, create a combinator. And this patch is a little bit more difficult than the other patches, simply because we use a lot more velocity and mod wheel and things of that sort. So in this combinator, we're going to create a maelstrom. Okay. And so let's tackle the first part, that part right here, the modulation A and modulation B. So for modulation A, we want a rising saw. So I think that's curve, looks like this, curve 12. We're going to do absolutely nothing. Maybe turn up the rate a bit. And for mod B, we're actually going to turn that off. We're not going to use it at all. Okay, so for our first oscillator, we're going to choose a jewel harp, or in this case, Jew's harp. And let me find out what that is because it's in voice. So that's all the way at the bottom. Pretty close. Anyways, Jew's harp right here. We're going to pitch it up an octave. And we're going to set it a little bit, about 23 should be good. Make sure it's in the ballpark area. Yeah, 22. That should be good. For our oscillator B, we're going to turn it on. And we're going to go to Tibetan monks. So that should actually be in voice. Tibetan monks right here. We're going to pitch it up an octave. And we're going to take the motion about halfway. So about 61. Turn on semitone all the way up. So 12 semitones. Okay. We're also going to do for our oscillator A and oscillator B, turn up the decay and sustain. Make sure they're all the way up. And make sure the release is about 28 on each. And we're going to turn on Shaper and make sure these two buttons are clicked in so that way they go to the corresponding filter. I'm going to turn that one on and turn filter B off. Okay. So for our velocity mod wheel and all of our gadgets here in the front, next to the bank and where you save it, I'm going to turn up polyphony or polyphony to 12 and portamento to about 22. The range, take it to 12, And for our mod wheel, we're going to change it to A. We're going to change the modulation all the way up and the filter all the way up. And we're going to change the shift, maybe move that about 8. So that's probably good. Take the index a good whopping 30. Okay. Now for the parameters above it, we're going to take the modulation and we're going to take it to 20. Or 21 if you're on an odd number or whatever. We're going to take the velocity, turn the filter envelope all the way up, the level amount to A all the way up, and the level B all the way up. Okay. We're actually going to go to our filter envelope settings, set the decay and sustain all the way up, and release to about 28. Take the attack to maybe 9, turn the amount all the way up, take off filter A, and turn the amount to about 68% on the sign. A little bit grittier, that's pretty nice. So after this, we're going to create an MC class equalizer. And this is something I don't normally do, but I want to take off low cut and low shelf. And for the low shelf, we're going to take the frequency all the way down and the gain all the way down and the Q off, or 0.5. So it creates this nice sweeping motion. For parameter 1, we're going to take that about, this is going to be the high riser, 275 hertz. Take it to about maybe 12 decibels. Should be suffice. 12.3 is good. Make the Q a little bit tighter, so maybe about 8.9. Parameter 2, we're going to take it to 187, turn the gain down all the way and the Q mostly up. You can take the gain off a little bit if you want. We're not going to be messing with the high shelf, that's for later. Okay, so after this I want to create a base 6 amp just to squash everything down on the compressor. After this, I'm going to right click and create a Screen 4 distortion unit in Creative Effects. Okay, this is a little bit tricky, simply because I don't want too much damage to go into the signal, I don't want too much distortion. So, I'm going to jump into this as quickly as I can. We're going to take the damage to 40, we're going to set it to tape, and we're going to turn P1 and P2 to the 3rd notch. For body, we want to take the resonance, make sure it's all the way on the quarter, the last quarter, second to last quarter. Leave the everything where it is and just turn to type E. Okay, after this we're going to create a line 6 bass amp and just turn on the compressor. On top of this we're going to create a pulverizer. That's what I'm looking for. We're going to turn up the dirt to about 16% and 16% for the squash. Make sure the filter goes to the squash then dirt. Take off the filter about 2.2 kilohertz. Make sure the peak is in the middle, so 50%. And change the filter to low pass ladder filter, 12 decibels plus notch. And turn up the positive all the way in the middle, so that way the follower goes to the waveform. And I'm going to turn it about 75% to the follower. We're going to take the threshold to a quarter, so 20%. Take the attack all the way to 43% and the release about 17%. Make sure to turn on spread, and we're going to use the random waveform for the tremor. Make sure the rate is all the way down. Okay. Now if we have a listen. We're in the ballpark area. After this, we're going to create a MC class equalizer. Then after this, we're going to create an MC class maximizer and a line 6 bass amp. And not to mention a pulverizer after this. So go to Utilities, Pulverizer. Okay, so we're going to do the same things that we always do on our equalizer. We're going to turn on 30 Hertz, turn on parameter 1, take it to about 126 make it so when the kick hits, it's going to be fine there. Make the Q all the way up, so 3.0. Parameter 2, turn on 2.856. Gain down all the way, Q all the way up. High shelf, take it about 3 kilohertz. Turn it about 1.7 decibels, and the Q all the way to 50 or off. For soft clip, we're going to take it to 127, turn on the release, and take off limiter. What this does, instead of hitting a brick wall at 0 and compressing our signal down, it creates a much richer, warmer sound because it's not being heavily compressed with the soft amount. This is more of an analog technique. It's good for all types of synths, unless your signal is really distorting in the mix. In that case, turn on limiter and turn on 4 milliseconds look ahead. We're going to turn on the compressor on the line 6 bass amp. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch it over. So hit tab to view the back. I'm going to take the P2 and plug it into LFO1. And we're going to turn the rate all the way up. Or the level, I'm sorry, not the rate. We're going to take it tempo sync to about maybe 1/8. A little bit more than that, so 1/8 triplets. And now if we have a listen. So it moves and it sweeps. So there we have created our enormous patch, and we can name it another growl or whatever. But for now, I think it's best to move on to the next patch. So I'll see you guys probably Wednesday for another patch. Yeah. So I'm just gonna play you out, and thanks for watching. Have a great 2 days, I guess. Make sure to get a lot of shit done. So, oh, my bad. Take off solo. Really? It's playing. Oh.